How to Improve Your English. A Story for English Learners. Part 1. The Introduction. Let me tell you something that might surprise you. The person who is speaking to you right now, in this clear, comfortable, flowing English, was once completely silent. Not shy, not lazy, just silent. Because the words were there but the confidence was not. Because the desire was real but the path was not clear. And I genuinely know, what it feels like to sit in a room full of people speaking English and feel like you are watching a movie in a language you almost understand. Almost, but not quite enough to join in. So let me ask you directly, when was the last time you felt left out because of English? When was the last time an opportunity, a job, a promotion, a friendship, a moment, passed you by because your English was not where you needed it to be? Maybe it was recent. Maybe it was yesterday. Maybe it is happening right now in your daily life. And maybe, like so many people, you have tried to improve. You downloaded apps. You bought books. You watched videos. You made promises to yourself at the start of every new year. This year I will become fluent. And somehow, a few weeks later, life got busy and the promise got quiet and nothing really changed. This is the story of Farhan. A 28-year-old young man from a middle-class family with a big dream and one very stubborn obstacle standing between him and everything he wanted. His English. Farhan wanted to work in international business. He had the ideas. He had the intelligence. He had the hunger. But every time he sat in front of someone who mattered, an interviewer, a client, a senior colleague, his English let him down. His words came out wrong. His sentences broke in the middle. And his confidence, which was strong in his own language, simply evaporated the moment English was required. He tried everything. Classes, apps, YouTube videos, grammar books, but nothing stuck. Nothing truly changed. Until one evening, one completely ordinary evening, everything shifted. Not because Farhan found a magic solution, but because he finally understood the real reason his English was not growing. And that reason, I promise you, is not what you think. Stay with me, because Farhan's discovery might be the most important thing you hear today. Part 2. The real problem Farhan discovered. It was a Friday evening and Farhan was sitting in a small tea stall near his office. His phone was in his hand. He was watching an English learning video, the same kind he had watched 100 times. Grammar rules, vocabulary lists, pronunciation tips. He watched it carefully. He nodded along. He understood everything in the video. And then a foreign colleague walked into that same tea stall. A young man named James from England who had recently joined Farhan's company. James sat nearby and smiled. And in a friendly, casual way, he said, "Hey, mind if I sit here?" Farhan panicked. Inside, completely invisible panic. His brain raced. What do I say? How do I say it naturally? What if I say something wrong? And what came out of his mouth was a stiff, robotic, "Yes, please, seat." 3 words, when 20 warm and friendly ones were sitting right there in his brain. James sat down. They drank their tea in mostly silence. And when James left with a friendly wave, Farhan sat alone and felt that familiar, heavy feeling. He looked at his phone, at the English grammar video still playing on the screen. And for the first time, he asked himself a truly honest question. I watch videos every day. I study grammar. I know the rules. So why can I still not speak? And then, slowly, the real answer came to him, like a light turning on in a dark room. He had been learning English, but he had not been living English. There is a difference, a very important difference. Learning English means studying it from the outside, looking at it, reading about it, understanding its rules. Living English means using it from the inside, speaking it, breathing it, making it part of your actual daily life. Farhan had been standing at the window looking at a swimming pool for years, reading books about swimming, watching videos about swimming, understanding the technique perfectly, but he had never jumped in. That Friday evening, sitting alone in that tea stall, Farhan decided to jump in. Part 3. The 4 things Farhan changed. Farhan did not quit his job and join an expensive English course. He did not move to an English-speaking country. He did not suddenly find extra hours in his busy day. He made 4 small but powerful changes to his existing daily life. And those 4 changes, done consistently, transformed his English in ways that years of studying never had. The first change, he made English his daily environment. Farhan looked at how he spent his time every day. Commuting about 40 minutes each way. Lunch break, 30 minutes. Evening wind down about an hour. He had nearly 2.5 hours every single day that he was spending in his own language, on social media, on entertainment, on news. So he switched. Not everything, just those pockets of time. His commute music became English podcasts, easy ones, conversational ones that felt like listening to a friendly voice rather than sitting in a classroom. His lunch break became 15 minutes of reading one simple English article, just one. His evening scrolling became 20 minutes of watching one short English conversation video, and then, this was the important part, repeating what he heard, out loud, to himself. He surrounded himself with English. And slowly, the way water shapes a stone, English started shaping him from the outside in. The second change, he started an English voice diary. Every night before sleeping, just 5 minutes. Farhan picked up his phone and recorded himself speaking in English. Not reading, not repeating, just talking. About his day. About something that made him think. About a problem he was solving at work. About a movie he watched. He did not listen back immediately. He just recorded and put the phone down. But after 3 weeks, he listened to his first recording. And then his most recent one. The difference was already there. Small but real. His sentences were a little longer. His hesitations were a little shorter. His voice sounded a little less afraid. That recording became his evidence. His proof that he was growing. On the hard days when he felt like nothing was changing, he played those 2 recordings. And the evidence told him to keep going. The third change, he chose one English conversation every day. Not a big, scary, formal English conversation. Just one small, real, low-pressure exchange. Every single day. He started saying good morning to James in full sentences. Good morning, James. How was your evening? Instead of just, morning. He started asking the office canteen server a small question in English each day. What is the special today? Is this very spicy? Can I have a little extra, please? Small, low pressure, real. Each one taught him something. How English sounds in a real mouth. How a native speaker responds naturally. How the rhythm of a real conversation flows differently from a textbook. These small daily conversations were doing something that no class could do. They were building his instincts, his natural English reflexes. One tiny exchange at a time. The fourth change, he stopped being afraid of mistakes. He started collecting them. This was the deepest change, and perhaps the most important one. Farhan had always been afraid of making mistakes in English, so he stayed quiet. He avoided situations where he might say something wrong. He waited until he was sure before he spoke, and since he was rarely completely sure, he rarely spoke. But after that Friday in the tea stall, he made a new decision. He would collect mistakes instead of hiding from them. Every time he said something wrong in English, he wrote it down. The wrong word. The right word. The reason. I said, discuss about the project. Should be discuss the project. Know about needed. I said, I am having a car. Should be, I have a car. Possession doesn't need continuous tense. His mistake notebook grew. And every mistake in it was a lesson that never left him, because he had lived it, felt the embarrassment of it, and corrected it himself. Within 2 months, he had a notebook full of real, personal, practical English knowledge that no textbook had ever given him. Part 4. The moment Farhan arrived. 5 months after that Friday evening in the tea stall, something happened at work that Farhan would remember for the rest of his life. The company had a meeting with an important international client, a company from Singapore. The meeting was in English, and Farhan's manager, who was supposed to lead part of the presentation, had a family emergency and could not attend. He called Farhan 30 minutes before the meeting. Farhan, I need you to cover my part. Just 10 minutes. Can you do it? 10 minutes. In front of international clients. In English. With 30 minutes notice. 6 months ago, Farhan would have said no. would have found an excuse, would have let the opportunity walk away because of fear. But this Farhan paused for exactly 3 seconds. Thought of 5 months of morning podcasts and evening voice diaries and small canteen conversations and a notebook full of collected mistakes. And he said, "Yes, I can do it." He walked into that meeting room. He spoke for 11 minutes, 1 minute over. He made 2 small grammar errors that nobody noticed or cared about. He answered 2 questions from the client directly, clearly, and honestly. After the meeting, the senior manager from Singapore shook his hand and said, "You explained that very clearly. Well done." Farhan walked out of that room and went straight to the bathroom. Not to hide, not to cry, but because he needed one private moment to fully feel how far he had come. He had not become perfect. He had become real. And real, in English, in life, in everything, is so much better than perfect. Part 5. The ending. What you learned. And here we are at the last page of Farhan's story. But this story, as you already know, was never really just about Farhan. It was about every person who has ever felt that their English is the one thing standing between them and the life they deserve. Between them and the job, the confidence, the connection, the version of themselves they know is in there, just waiting. Let me remind you of the 4 powerful changes Farhan made, and the 4 things I want you to carry with you today. 1. Make English your daily environment. Your commute, your lunch break, your free moments. Fill them with English. Podcasts, simple articles, short videos. Not to study, just to soak. Let English become the air around you. 2. Start a voice diary. Every night, 5 minutes, record yourself speaking English freely. Don't edit. Don't stop. Just talk. After 3 weeks, listen to the first and the most recent. The growth will be there, and it will push you forward more powerfully than any teacher's words. 3. Have one small English conversation every day. Real, low pressure, with anyone, about anything. These tiny daily exchanges build instincts that no classroom ever could. They teach you how English actually lives, in real mouths, in real moments. 4. Collect your mistakes. Don't hide from them. Every mistake is a free lesson. Write it down, understand it, and let it go. The learners who grow fastest are not the ones who make the fewest mistakes. They are the ones who are least afraid of making them. Farhan did not improve his English because he was special. He improved because he stopped waiting to be ready. Because he stopped studying English from the outside and started living it from the inside. And the most beautiful part of Farhan's story is this: he started the day he decided to start. Not when conditions were perfect. Not when he had more time. Not when he felt more confident. That day. That ordinary Friday. That tea stall. Your tea stall moment is right now. This story. This moment. This decision you are making as you listen. You do not need a perfect plan. You do not need an expensive course. You do not need to be ready. You just need to start. And now the last words. And they are just for you. Thank you. Not a quick, polite thank you, but a real one. From one person who understands this journey to another who is walking it. Thank you for listening to this entire story. For not giving up halfway. For staying curious and open and willing. Because those qualities, curiosity, openness, willingness, are the real foundation of every language that was ever learned. Your English is going to grow. I believe that completely. Not because I am being kind, but because you are here. Because you care enough to listen. Because somewhere inside you, there is a Farhan standing in a tea stall, looking at his phone, asking himself, why is nothing changing? And now you have the answer. Because you were learning English from the outside. Now go live it from the inside. Make it yours. Speak it imperfectly. Speak it daily. Speak it bravely. And watch month by month how the person in the mirror slowly becomes the person you always knew you could be. Keep speaking. Keep growing. Keep showing up every single day. Your English is not your limitation. It is your next great adventure. Thank you truly and completely for being here today. Goodbye, and I will see you in the next story.